Shorties, good to see you. I see some familiar faces in the chat. Colors, hey girl, good to see you. Hi, wait. Hi, Dawn Marie, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Nonna Robin says, and we're back. Girl, I love your display picture. Hey, Taryn, good to see you. And thank you, Turd, for welcoming new members. I think both of them were previous members, but yay, Camp Shorty. Good to see you here. Ernie Birdie, my friend. Turd, my friend. Adam, my man. Grammy Shell, yay, welcome. Thanks for being here. The song still slaps. You say that every time, Adam. It does slap. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. Curious Wendy, woo! Patricia, love the intro. How good is it? That's a Turd Ferguson banger. Jess is in the house. Turd Ferguson banger. Adam drives Helen video. Amazing. So good. So good. Thank you all who are in the hi. Yes, it does, Adam. It slaps. Fucking slaps. Turd banger. Right? That sounds messy. Hey, so those of you who are in that my earlier stream that just wrapped up about half an hour ago, thank you so much for being here. I want to say an official thank you to my amazing mod squad, the Mod Avengers. I forgot because I was all up in my being a serious like journalist and stuff because it was a pretty important conversation I had with Jen Root, Justin Root's sister, Beatrice, Jen's friend and activist, both of them Massachusetts residents, and Jason Broyles. So if you haven't watched it, catch it on the replay. It was pretty amazing. We're going to do more lives together. Brilliant, says Jess. Right. Yes, Emily, best mods. Hey, girl. Good to see you all here. Hey, you know what I missed, though? You know what I missed? Wait, it'll be on loop. Oh, fuck our lives. It's on loop, and it's not loud enough. All the applause. We might use some sound effects, etc., in this live to give us some levity. Hey, wait, just because I love you all and because, like, now I can, like, I wanted to give Jen and Beatrice and Jason my full respect and just be as sensible as possible. But wait, let me just not be sensible now for a minute. So there's this thing, I've never used it before, and I'm not using it right now. There's this thing on StreamYard where you can touch up your appearance. So wait. Okay, wait. So look, this is me normal. Just makeup and good lighting. Wait, it takes a little minute. Perfect. Who's 50? Not me. Not yet. So that's moderate. And then wait. Oof. So we're not using it, but anyone who looks fucking perfect on stream, that's really what they're using. Lol. It was such a good stream. Emily wasn't an amazing thing. It was just so good. Ernie's putting the Mod Avengers group of emojis in the chat. Amazing. Adam's laughing because he and I sometimes when we play around doing like we hang out on StreamYard, just like watch movies and stuff. And like when he puts the filter on his face, he looks just so smooth and perfect. It's so funny. Thank you, Ernie. And I'm really looking forward. We're definitely going to do more streams. I'm 1 quadrillion% asking Bettero if he'll come on and do a panel with Jason and Jen and Bettero, Mr. Bettero, Mark Bettero, about qualified immunity. So I've been wanting to have Bettero on for the longest time, but I honestly didn't want to just be, I don't know, clout chasing and ask him on for like, with all due respect to Karen Reid and Officer John O'Keefe, the same old stuff. We've heard it all before. Does it have a beard filter? No, it can just enhance your appearance. I'm sure, like I have got a little bit of old lady fur, as my delightful abusive ex used to call it. It's blonde though. I don't think you can get a beard. Yeah, Patricia, we all need that. We all need that. One of the big things for me in starting doing my YouTube channel was like live streaming was getting my head around the fact that I was just going to have to be like me, no filter. I always use a little tiny bit of filter. I always use a tiny little bit of gentle filter on my my selfies. So if you think I look extra good in my on my thumbnails, where I use a like a photo of myself, that's why it's just a mild filter. But in live streams, no filter, so it's there. I don't use it. Just makeup and lighting. Um, Greg P, good to see you. Not a name I recognize, but good to see you. So what are we talking about today? Let's talk. So I guess this one comes with a blanket trigger warning. We're talking about sexual assault, sexual violence, and rape. Not hugely YouTube friendly words, conversations. Hi, sweetie. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the like on your way, but stay a while if you can. So this is going to require us to do some active hitting of the like, sharing it out. I know you're all subscribed because you have to be if you're in chat. If you're not, replay crew, lurkers, love your faces. Thank you for being here. And dropping a comment afterwards would be amazing. So, but this is my Let's Talk series is something that's very dear to my heart. Gosh, I've used that phrase a lot tonight. I generally only speak to things I've lived through, and statistically, I know that how many of you here? 18. 2 guys, as far as I know, 2 men. So there's, let's call it, thanks, Jess, topic reminder. Back on track. Thank you so much. I think that deserves this. Jess is the topic reminder queen, and I love it for it. I love her for it. So if there's 18, if there's, let's say there's 16 women in the chat here right now, and all of you watching on replay crew, the statistics are 1 in 3 women have experienced, across all nations, like Western nations at least, have experienced some sort of sexual assault or sexual violence in their life. The statistic for rape is 1 in 5 women, but the underreporting of rape is so very high. Is that a double negative? Basically, let's just call it 1 in 3 women have been also raped. Thank you, Adam. Good reminder. He's such a good man. Make sure you give Adam and Turd a subscribe. And Dawn Marie, she's in the chat. Greg, I think you're in the wrong. We're not talking cases tonight. Sorry, man. Okay. So if you're on replay crew and you'd love to benefit or experience the amazing, beautiful, supportive Camp Shorty or Miss Shorty live chat, because it's such a beautiful, supportive, inclusive, openly sharing place. To do so, if you're on if you want to watch it on replay on mobile devices, to view live chat in replay, swipe left on the comment tab, and it will give you the option for the live chat instead. While I'm on public service announcements, here's another one. Yeah. We be respectful, cool, courteous, and kind in here, y'all, which we do. But this is just in case you're new here. To each other, to Shorty, and to her guests. It's just me, but you know, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Absolutely. And also, if you don't know why, but if you have sensory sensory overload issues or things like a neon border around the screen distracts you or gives you a brain ache or something, all you need to do is simply zoom in. So pinch on your screen if you're on a phone or however you would do it on another device, and like zoom in a little bit and crop that moving bit out. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So the big verdict. Yes, Greg, are you talking about Delphi? Have we got a verdict yet? No. It's on my mind heavily. I think tomorrow's going to be the day. We'll stay on topic, but yes, it's pretty big. The whole corruption framing, not properly investigated, no accountability and law enforcement thing weighs heavily on my mind at the moment. So, yeah, It's bad. Yeah, zoom in. Thanks, Jess. That's it. That's it. Yes, Dawn Marie. So, Adam, could you please drop Dawn's, or someone drop Dawn Marie's channel link in the chat, because that's what we do here. We rising seas lift all ships, right? So, all the public service announcements are out of the way, I think. Yes, for now. For now. Sexual assault, sexual violence, and rape. Lived experience for me from like some mad trigger warning across all of this. And if this is too much for you at any point, feel free to leave. Come back if you feel ready. If you don't, totally get it. If you'd like to talk further about what we're going to cover here tonight on the live stream, my Discord server is a great place to continue these conversations in a more private or public. It's a Discord server, but like not for all of the internet to see, and can go beyond just the chat box. So my Discord server is a pretty cool place. Thank you, Adam. You're the best. Vape break. Thanks for reminding me, sweetie. I'll have a vape. Yes. Hey, guess what? Also, is Prince Lover here? Yes. Guess who's got a mouse? Woo! Did I have it already? It's turned itself off, but other than that, cool. So, my pleasure. Yes. This Dawn Marie. Trigger warning. The Counting Champions. Yeah. It's a great Discord. So what I've done is, like, this is a stream that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I guess I've probably put it off because it's going to be a tough one, like for me personally, and also for you guys. And I mean, it's not going to be a clicks and views, and it's just not that I do anything that I do for that. But if I've got a finite amount of time in which to stream every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights, that's it. And I'm actually going to try to wind back the number of hours that I'm streaming each weekend, because I got to get to America, and I'm not going to be doing that if I'm streaming all weekend every weekend. So I'm going to set some self-imposed boundaries on my own time, just to see whether I can get that ball rolling there as well. But been putting this off for a little while. Heavy topic, but it's time. It's time. Hi, Buster. Buster's in the house. Hey, Busty. Say hi to everyone. Poppy's on heat, so I love life. It's fantastic having a dog on heat. 2-3 weeks every 6 months. It's fabulous. Yes. Don't lick me. I love you. Don't lick me. Okay. So what I've got here is a couple of pretty good, like, things to share with you. Channels that have done some great, better articulated than I'm doing at the moment. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a migraine. Videos, I think they were lives, videos about these topics, and also a TED Talk, which is very inspiring. So I'm very grateful for let me see, is it this one? Yep. This lady, Come Off Conqueror, abuse and trauma support. She basically did me a whole PowerPoint presentation. She didn't do it for me. It was 5 years ago, I think, or a few years ago, but really basically very well breaks down what I was wanting to say without having to do the work, but we're going to go through it together. The description of her channel, or the channel, is in the description box. Adam's also going to drop it in chat. So she's only got about 250 subscribers. So if you'd want to go and give her some subscribes and some likes and some views, that'd be amazing, because I think you'll find this is really powerful stuff that she's talking about, and a really comprehensive, it's about 40 minutes live stream. What was I going to say? That's the other thing. Her channel has a very mild Christian/religious frame of reference that she comes from, but I was reluctant in the beginning, because I don't want to make this about anything religious. It's not. There's just a little thing at the start of her video with I think a Bible verse, and then she does talk about, in terms of getting assistance, support, like sort of pastoral support, actually, if you've got, like, among other things. So that's that. But I think it's pretty important, and her message is amazing, lived experience. So Thank you, Adam. This Come Off Conqueror, Abuse and Trauma Support. This is a really amazing. I watched this. Oh, better check the speed. I watched this last night on almost 2x speed. I think. Let me just check that before we press play because, yikes! Get rid of that. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like doing all official professional stuff. Shh, lady, she's in my ear. Okay, so they're just Prince Lover. No, they're not. They're just being dingleberries. She can't hear me, but I mean, I'm good. I'm good. We're good. I got this. We've got this. So share screen. Oh, Prince Lover said the sound had turned down, but I just saw the dogs jumping up to comfort Miss Shorty. Must be a tough patch, a rough patch. I'm a tough bitch, mate. I've been through it all. Okay. This one. Yep. Oh, okay. This full screen. Sorry for the dirty pause, lady. Look at me with my mouse, like properly doing shit, like a full professional. Okay, so I'm going to stop and talk about things in this chat. We're here for each other. If you want to talk, if you don't want to talk, if you're lurking, you just want to watch, here for it all. And we'll try and stay on topic, but you know us shorties, doesn't always happen. So let me go to that for a moment. The dog knows how I feel. Yes, Sweeney, they do. I've had some relatively. Wait. Turd wants to bring the sprinkle into the day. Thanks, Turd. Cool. I couldn't use that when you gifted 5 on the last one, Turdy, because couldn't be putting fuck your memberships up with Jen Root and Beatrice and Jason. That would have take it seriously, Lisa. Okay. Sorry about the dirty pause, lady. Let's go. Let me check the volume.
And sexual abuse and rape and date rape. And we're going to define those terms to help you understand what those things are and what the differences are between them. I get asked that question a lot. Is what happened to me rape? Is what happened to me sexual assault? Is this abuse? Is this not abuse? Can I prosecute? Should I report this? I can't even tell you how many times I've been asked if what happened to me was actually rape.
How's the volume?
Or if
right in my ears.
Just lots of different questions surrounding what is sexual assault and what is the difference between that and abuse and these different things. The terms aren't really all that important unless you're going to prosecute or unless you're going to disclose. But I also think that they are important to help you label and to understand what happened to you so that you can.
She's from Utah, by the way. I think she said, love the accent.
And process and move past it. So the second half of this video is about the healing and what do you do if you've been assaulted, or what do you do if you've been raped or abused? How do you handle the situation? So we're going to go through kind of the steps and the immediate responses that should be taken after these things happen, in particular, rape.
Oh, that's her intro. I just want to say welcome to the lurkers. We've got the memberships, Styling, Mike P, Dazzler, Peace Bros, and Tiny Woods Lauren Craft. Congratulations. We have cool members emoji if you want to come out of the shadows and into the chat. No pressure.
So let's jump into my presentation. I went ahead and made a PowerPoint because I know myself. I know I will ramble, and so hopefully you'll like that. While I'm pulling this up, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like this video, and feel free to share it. All of you doing those things
I'll share it with
really
Shorties,
helps us spread the good news and help these messages get out with people who really need to hear hope and encouragement and who need to heal. So hopefully you'll help me do that by liking and subscribing and helping share this message. Okay, so let's jump in.
I liked and subscribed.
What is the difference between sex abuse, sexual assault, rape, date rape, all those things? We're going to define some terms here. And then we'll get into what do you do about it. Now, let me first preference this by saying a lot of this information came from the trainings that I've been to, and the books I've read, and different various websites and resources. I will link to all of that down below so you can get the actual information, get the information from those sites as well. Okay. So first, before we talk about what is sexual abuse, you need to understand that there is a lot of different types of abuse, and sexual abuse is
sorry, my bad.
Various websites and resources. I will link to all of that down below so you can get the actual information, get the information from those sites as well. Okay. So first, before we talk about
chat, I just linked this episode in the chat if you want to click on it and to see those resources. I haven't linked those resources in my description, but that's the link to this episode if you wanted to check out what she's talking about or watch this again. Yeah. Without my commentary. Why? I can't imagine.
About what is sexual abuse, you need to understand that there is a lot of different types of abuse, and sexual abuse is only one type of abuse.
Hi, Candy.
There is psychological abuse, which includes emotional and verbal abuse, name calling, gaslighting. What is gaslighting? You've probably,
thanks, Nana Robin.
If you're like me, you're new to all this and you're going, what in the crap is gaslighting? That's basically making you feel like you're insane, making you feel like your reality is not reality. So it's basically someone saying,
hey, Daddy,
manipulating you and helping you. I
haven't replied to your email yet, but hi.
What they're doing is not actually happening, or what you think is happening is not actually happening. Does that make sense? It's super convoluted and it's terrible. And I can post to a great video about gaslighting down below. There's financial abuse. Oh my gosh, financial abuse.
Chat, she just gave me an idea. We'll definitely do a let's talk about gaslighting. Oh, don't even start me on it now, girl. But yeah, we'll do that. Not soon, but it's on the list.
As many different aspects. It's not just controlling your money, but it's controlling the way you spend your money, how you get your money, anything that has to do with money. Spiritual abuse, that is preventing someone to believe their belief systems or forcing them to believe in a certain way. That is also multifaceted. Physical abuse. Now, physical and emotional, psychological, and sexual abuse tend to be the three that people really think of when they think of abuse. They forget about the spiritual and the financial and even the non-human abuse. So that's like abusing animals or being super aggressive with your things, throwing stuff. Something that is still a form of abuse. There is a difference between abuse and neglect, okay? While neglect is still reportable and prosecutable, it's done in a different way. Abuse is really the mistreatment or harming or attempting to harm somebody. Okay. Neglect is failure to prevent harm. So the difference is abuse is action and neglect is failure to act. Okay. They can happen at the same time. Often they do, especially in the case of child abuse, but not always. And so today we're just going to focus on the actions, okay? We're not going to focus on failure
1.5. We'll go to 1.
To act. We're going to focus on abuse in particular.
If it's too fast,
that's why I felt like it was important to define that. Here in Utah, where I live, I don't have the stats nationally on some of this, but 1 in 3 women in Utah will experience some form of domestic abuse. Some form of abuse. Half of those, it's sexual assaults, it's sex abuse. And did you know, this is interesting and really sad, that half of all of those sexual assaults include strangulation. And I'm not going to talk about strangulation today in today's video. We'll do one later. Hopefully with some.
Turd said, I don't know about you guys, but I need some vocabulary for a couple of times when something happened and the only way to describe it was what the fuck. I mean, can I suggest adding what the actual fuck? But yeah. Right. Looking back on my life, like we'll go into we'll do story time after this. We'll just get the official stuff out of the way. But yeah, wow, what the actual fuck.
Some law enforcement talk about why that's so important. But strangulation has some serious long-term effects. It's terrible. And another statistic that is startling.
Okay, I don't know the actual numbers, but I think it's up there like 80% that anytime an assault or sexual assault or a domestic violence situation includes strangulation, the increase in likelihood, probability that you will be murdered by the person, not like autoerotica and not like, you know, consensual sexual, like hands on throat stuff, but, you know, in terms of an assault, I think it's something like 80%. Your chances of being murdered by that person if they've put their hands or something to your throat and attempted to strangle you, it's like 80% chance that you'll be killed by them, compared to if there's the domestic violence, basically domestic violence and sexual assaults, if it's with a someone who you know, not a stranger, and if they've strangled you, your chances of being murdered by that person go up exponentially. So it's a really huge red flag. Okay, huge red flag.
And so horrible is that at least 3 people every single month take their own lives because of domestic violence.
AJ,
Sorry,
hey
that's a typo
girl,
on there, but it
good
is
to see you.
at least 3 people who take their own lives that suicide has to do with domestic violence. And 42% of adult homicides are domestic violence related. So abuse related. Is that crazy? Almost half of the reason someone's killed, it's done with in a domestic violence scenario. So what is the difference between sex abuse and sexual assault? Sex abuse really has to do with minors, and sexual assault has to do with adults. Okay. Sex abuse typically happens more than once. It's usually an ongoing thing, and it includes exposing yourself or touching yourself in any sexual way on purpose. An accident, like a child walking in on you naked, does not count as sex abuse. Okay, so it has to be on purpose and some sort of sexual way. It can also include sexual contact, like fondling, touching something inappropriately or touching the private parts.
Went too far.
Obviously includes intercourse as well. Obscene messaging is included in that sexual abuse and sexual assault. That includes sending text messages or Facebook messages or contacting them in some form of electronic way. Pornography or inappropriate language, things like that. Sex trafficking is, of course, included in that, and viewing or participating in the creation of.
Colors Flight said they tried normalizing that, but John Uhler, psychologist that works with offenders, says that any man who would do that in sex is dangerous. I mean, yes, and I guess any woman who encourages or welcomes sort of any sort of hands on throat or anything on throat has potentially possibly got some issues. It's not a huge thing of mine, but, you know, I think, I mean, there's a kink for everyone. You just got, I know a lot of men will say, I just don't feel comfortable with that. Guys who do feel comfortable with that, maybe there's some question there as to their level of danger, the potential for danger. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Of pornography is also considered abuse, sex abuse for a child.
I think as a female, for me, maybe I'm a skewed sample in terms of talking about stuff during sex, like consensual stuff, given my former profession of being an escort, a sex worker. I know for me, my boundaries extended a long way because I wasn't in a relationship for like a proper intimate partner relationship with someone who I loved and who loved me for many, many years, but was having sex. And I think that obviously for money, I think obviously that what was lacking in my life in terms of love, I kind of looked for in my boundaries in terms of what I accepted or welcomed or invited into the the bedroom arena. So I don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm a fair sample of what's normal. Who is? It's a kink for everyone, but you got to be careful.
Okay, so assault is the adult form of this abuse. Okay, it's unwanted or uninvited.
50 Shades of Grey. Haven't watched it. Haven't read it, but I know it.
Interactions. So that means that no consent is given or consent is revoked at any time before or during the action, whatever that action may be, whatever that item that is. Okay, so if consent is not given or taken back, that is still considered sexual assault. Okay, it can happen only one time, and that is considered assault. More than once is usually considered abuse. Okay, there's a great link down. I found this really awesome law firm who has a great article on what is the difference between sex assault and sexual abuse. That link will be down below. Okay, now that you know the terms,
some statistics.
It's important to know that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. That is a crazy number. A third of us women will experience some form of sexual violence. Whether
there's 24 watching. I don't think there's 24 in chat, but there's a couple of guys. I know Man Cat's here and Adam's here, and then perhaps there's a few men watching. Let's take it down to, let's just call it 20 women watching and or in the chat. So, I mean, look around you. Well, virtually. She'll go on to explain what some of those things are, but it's a pretty terrifying thing that we have. So many of us have experienced some sort of sexual assault. Me, hi, it's me, and many of you.
Whether that's harassment, touching, whatever, we'll experience that. So the big question that I get a lot is, what is the difference between rape and sexual assault? A lot of times sexual assault and rape are used interchangeably, but they're actually not the same thing. Sexual assault is the umbrella term, and rape is a form of sexual assault. Okay. Sexual assault is really any unwanted criminal sexual act. So like the things that we described above, the pornography, the exposing yourself, voyeurism, sexual harassment, things like that. That's all under sexual assault. Rape, however, is any degree of penetration, no matter how slight and how little bit of penetration that object did, whether is considered rape. So that can be penetration, whether that's oral in your genitals or even rectum. Okay. And that is without consent. And it does not have.
She's a good Christian girl. I can't imagine she felt so comfortable saying rectum live. Her name's Bonnie, by the way. You can't see. Her name's Bonnie, I think Randall, actually. Wait. Yep. Bonnie Randall. Oh, press play. Press play.
Have to be a body part. It can be an object that is penetrated. Okay. So that is important to know, because a lot of times people ask, well, was this rape?
Thank you, Annie.
He used his finger or whatever it is. He used this thing, this banana, whatever it is, right? Like, and then they ask, is that still considered rape? Yes. It's any object and any degree of penetration, even if it's just a little bit, it's still considered rape. Okay. If you think about that, it doesn't matter
just a little.
How much penetration there's still trauma. Psychologically and physically.
Yikes.
And psychologically, that trauma is
Lisa. What are you
in
doing?
some ways more damaging. Some ways. So then the next question I usually get is, what is date rape then? Right? Date rape is a form of rape. The only difference is that date rape has to do with somebody that you were dating, whether someone that you were seeing. And it doesn't necessarily happen to occur on a date, but it's somebody that you've been socializing with and going out with at least one time. Okay. And the other aspect of this definition is that it's anytime the victim does not feel that he or she can safely say no, or they can't give consent because they're drunk, they're high, they're asleep, or anything like that. So it really has to do with consent and knowing the person and dating.
This is important.
Okay?
What she says,
so it's not rape.
It's pretty important.
If you're dating this person and you say to them, yes, I'm willing to go all the way, or whatever it is, like, that's not rape. You can't decide after the fact. If you said yes and you decide after the fact, that's not considered rape. You have to uphold your consent at some time. So let's get into what is consent. Okay, this consent is a whole can of worms, and there are so many aspects of it.
She doesn't mention legal consent, and obviously there's an age of consent, which varies in different countries and different states, I presume. And also, she is talking about whether you're intoxicated, whether you've taken some sort of illicit substance, whether by choice or unwittingly. AJ makes a really good point here. There is also the problem of society raising girls to be polite and compliant. She's going to talk about the freeze response in many / I think she quotes it as being all of her patients, clients, as a trauma counselor, abuse and trauma counselor, therapist, feeling obligated to a man for whatever reason, 100%. I can think of, just off the top of my head, that my first 3 rapes were all me just being compliant and being kind of in shock and freezing. That was all by the time I was 19. It is what it is. Now my mouse won't work. Move. Back on. Yikes.
One of my favorite videos and explanations of consent, I'm linking down below. It's the coffee analogy. I love this video because it does explains consent in kind of a funny way, but also in a way that makes so much sense. It's basically like, look at it as if you're asking somebody if they want a cup of coffee, right? And they go into all the different scenarios of when it is and when it isn't consent. It's really good. So we'll link that down below too. My production assistant's going to love me. This video has a lot of links.
Turd, no. So Turd says, I hope the Christian lady addresses the being told that God commands complete submission. It's not true. God would never condone that. No. She just mostly only, as far as I recall, I was watching these last night. She mostly touches on getting, if you're looking for some sort of support or counseling, that you could go to your pastoral care. So your rabbi, your priest, your clergyman. I don't think she goes into any. It's that's the only, other than the little Bible verse at the start. That's the only time I believe she touches on any religiosity.
This time. So let's discuss, what is consent? It is clearly and freely communicated every single time. Just because you consented to having sex last week doesn't mean that today they automatically get it. The other thing about consent is that being married or being in a relationship.
Again, wow, AJ coming in with the fucking zingers. My Camilla, that's just so bad. I don't know what I know about. I don't know yet what I think about my Camilla's case. I know what John Paul, piece of shit. That's his name, isn't it? John Paul Miller, JP. Am I remembering that right? I've got a Micah Miller channel in my Discord because his home was just raided recently by the FBI. So stuff will happen with him. He will have his judgment day on this earth before he faces the final judge. But yeah, Micah Miller. That's I don't know. We can have a chat about that in that Discord stream, because I'm not sure about how that happened. I can't quite work out. Grizzly True Crime has a lot of amazing stuff where she goes deep dives into all of the Micah Miller backstory, and then all of her videos, her Facebook stuff, the 911 call. Ugh, terrible.
Relationship with that person does not automatically guarantee consent. You can be raped by your husband or by your spouse or by your partner. You have to give consent every single time. Okay. How do you give consent? You can do it verbally or with body language.
Was he
body
arrested?
Language is a little iffy.
Wait.
Verbal is more concrete.
Topic. Where's my topic reminder? Yes. I only saw that he was raided. I didn't know he'd been arrested. Great. Let's fucking go with that piece of shit. Scumbag. Jess, I'm so sorry.
More clear. Body language is where things get really gray. Okay, gray area. You cannot be drunk, high, or asleep to give consent, and you cannot be intimidated or threatened. So, for example, intimidation can be a guy that you're dating.
No, it's on topic.
You really like the guy, and you don't want to let him down. He starts to push you, and you're like, I don't really know about this, and you say, I don't really feel comfortable going further.
Nona Robbins says he was arrested for assaulting a protester. See, arrested. Googled. Turd. Googled. Thank you, Turd. Look at us, hive mind here. A lot is going on with him. The feds raided his house. He was arrested for assaulting a protester. I mean, they'll get him for whatever they can, right? If they can put him in, if they can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he actively was involved in causing her death, and I believe very firmly he was, they'll get him on something else. Hey, Jeno, good to see you. Wait. How's the packing going? He's out on bail. Well, that fucking sucks. Well, that's what the actual fuck, because it's a small charge. The feds will get him on something. They'll get him on something. If they can't get him on the murder, they'll get him on something. The feds have, what did Jess, you said, I think that was in the Micah Miller channel in Discord. They do have a 97% or so conviction rate. They do not act until they have all the fucking receipts. And if they can get him into prison for something else for a long time, they'll do that. He'll receive judgment on this earth.
I'm not really sure about this, or you give any sort of like, I don't know. That is not consent. Saying I don't know is the same thing as saying no. Okay. Or threatened.
Isn't she the best, Adam?
Also look
Topic
like
moderator.
Unequal power dynamics as it's written here. So, for example, a student and a teacher, or a coworker and a boss. So your boss making you feel like if you don't give consent, you'll get fired or something like that. Okay. Those sort of things fall under that category. Anytime there's unequal power.
Adam, call back to when we watched Legally Blonde the other night. She just said, yeah, I made Adam watch Legally Blonde. We had the best time. It's the best movie. He's picking the next movie we're watching, and he's picked Legally Blonde too. So, I mean, I call that an absolute win. It was so good. But she just mentioned that maybe a boss that, makes advances towards you and then basically says if you don't, or infers, it doesn't even to be an overt statement that, you better want to comply with this, whatever this is, or you lose your job, or you lose your promotion, or you don't get the promotion. This is,
There's somebody you feel less than the other person. That is unequal power. Okay. And the other thing about consent that's really important to know is you can change your mind at any time during the process. They can start and you'd be like, we're done. We've gone too far. Even if they've started the whole thing, right? You could be making out and started to go towards that direction. You could even be naked and all that stuff and still say, oh, we've gone too far. I'm done. That is, they no longer have consent, right? That's why I love the coffee analogy, because you can start drinking the drink and decide halfway through the drink, I'm done, right? So the other thing that's
Patricia, is the My Body, My Choice an advertising campaign in your country to try and improve or increase young people and older people's awareness or an understanding of that you have the right to choose? It's your body and you choose. I think that's a fantastic thing to go with. I know there's a big push in the schools in Australia to educate young women and men, young people about consent. Federally funded initiative to because the toxic bullshit in young men is and many other all ages of men since time began. So yes, my body, my choice. Absolutely. And Pretty Woman callback. I say who, I say when, I say who.
What's really important to note here is that your physiological response is not consent. So just because you're aroused, or just because you have an erection or an orgasm or anything like that, your body involuntarily has these physiological responses. You cannot control whether or not you have a physiological response. Okay, you can't. It's involuntary. So
she's talking about
I'm done.
She's talking about physiological responses that, you know, the end. Just let her say it.
You know, right? So the other thing that's really important to note here is that your physiological response is not consent. So just because you're aroused or just because you have an erection or an orgasm or anything like that, your body involuntarily has these physiological responses. You cannot control whether or not you have a physiological response. You can't. It's involuntary. So a lot of times
your body just does it.
But I liked it. It felt good. And so if it felt good, I must have given consent, right? No. That is not the case. And a lot of times abusers will use your physiological responses against you. So they'll say, well, I know you liked it. You know, I could tell.
I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry. What? It's encouraging young men to assault women? Where? Who? Who's leading this movement? Fucking, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say Donald Trump, but we're not doing politics. But rapist. Well, that's disgusting, Patricia. Not you. That's a disgusting thought. What the fuck is wrong with the world? Yikes.
I could tell that you liked it. I could tell that you were feeling good. They'll say things like that. And that does not mean that you gave your consent. That is your body reacting. That is not
Yuck.
your emotional and your logical and your brain saying yes. Okay. Please hear me.
Oh.
I promise you that was not consent.
Okay. Yes. I've heard that the someone YouTuber talked about it. Chat. Tell me. Yeah, I heard. It's in the last couple of days. Andrew Tate, piece of shit. Of course, the trauma. Turd says, wow, I would tell myself all's well that ends well, but the trauma is still there. Oh, 100%, man. I don't think about this often. I put it in a box and tape it up and keep it away. I don't think I've probably ever dealt with really any of my rapes. But yeah. So that's disgusting. My body, my choice. Yeah, I did hear about that. We don't like that. That can only be a small pocket of incels. Do better, young men.
Some more statistics that are important to know.
Statistics,
And
important.
terrible. 1 in 5 women are raped in their lifetime. 1 in 5. That is why it does not surprise me that when I started this project a few years ago, I kept meeting so many women who have been sexually assaulted in some way. 1 in 3
I heard it elsewhere,
were sexually assaulted. Yeah. 1 in 5 have experienced rape. This is crazy. And what makes that number even more staggering is the fact that rape is actually so highly unreported that number is wrong. It's probably more like 1 in 3 are raped or 1 in 4 because of how many rapes go unreported. Half of those rapes are done by somebody that you know, right? By an intimate partner. So somebody that you already are in a relationship with, whether that's your boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse or your partner. 40% of those.
Trigger warning. The most number of times I've been raped is by the one person. Countless times. I used to be, trigger warning. Yeah. And I ended up having to drop charges. The most egregious set of incidents was he went to jail for two months as a result of all the other stuff, and a full we call them an intervention order here, a restraining order against him. But I was encouraged by the Department of the public prosecutors to not go forward with the rape stuff. Can't prove it. It's just only going to make you feel embarrassed, and we advise you don't press those charges. Thanks.
And those are by somebody you know. That is crazy. So a lot of people think rape is somebody that you don't know. It's like a stranger. It's being violently caught.
Good to see you, girl.
Taken off the street or given a date rape drug or things like that. No, more often than not, it's by somebody you know. The other sad statistic is that 91% of those victims of
Hi, Free Scholar. Good to see you.
That's why our support group is so important. And our support group is just for women at this time.
But
Because
I will read your comment out. Our culture promotes rape as a rite of passage through fashion and entertainment. I mean, even the movie Pretty Woman, you know, so many times. And I mean, I feel like these days I don't watch movies anymore. I haven't watched a contemporary movie for a long time. But, you know, Pretty Woman, it was just it was just something that happened. Yeah. That society just kind of was like, oh, men are just being men, you know, boys will be boys. And I would hope Adam and I were commenting on Legally Blonde that movie just would not be made now. It just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. It's just so highly inappropriate in terms of the messages being sent. And anyway, great movie, but very, very dated. I would hope to think that entertainment is starting to do better. But then again, think about rap music and rap culture and great music. Terrible message.
for so many different reasons, but 80% of victims know their abuser.
My pleasure.
And with minors, it's 93.
My pleasure.
Whoa. So it's not a stranger.
Kenzie's in the house. Good to
so
see you, love.
Let's talk for a minute about what do you do if you've been sexually assaulted.
Okay, so this is important. What do you do?
First and foremost, I want you to know it's not your fault. You did not invite this. Okay.
Really important. Again, I'll reiterate, if you're coming in late to the stream, I'll link it again. I'll drop this episode, this actual what we're streaming here. I'll drop it into chat, and if you'd like to, she has a lot of resources in her description box. Her name is Bonnie Randall. And if you'd like to watch this episode, we should definitely subscribe to her channel. She hasn't got many subscribers, and I don't know whether she's still an active known YouTuber. She's only got a couple of hundred subscribers, so give her a subscribe. Definitely give the video a like. I've liked it and I've subscribed. I just dropped it in there. That's the episode that we're watching right now. But she has a lot of resources in her description box. According to Bonnie, we love Bonnie.
You feeling, even if you felt like you had to give consent, it's still not your fault. You were coerced into this. This is why this is such a gray and such a touchy and delicate subject, because there are so many different scenarios in this situation that it's hard to say, right? But anytime you've been sexually assaulted, it was not your fault. The way you were dressing does not mean that it's okay. The way you were acting, the way you were talking, the way.
But also, I've got her channel, something, oh my God, my brain, something Conqueror. It's in the description box of this. So if you just want to find her channel and subscribe to her after the fact, Replay Crew, it's in the description box. Also, my next video we're going to watch is much shorter. This is about 40 minutes long. We're halfway through. They're in the description box of this video of mine. So do that. Do that. Rising seas lift all ships, right?
The way you were singing, the way you were flirting, the way you're doing any of those things, you did not invite this on yourself. This was not your fault. You have nothing to repent of.
Patricia Vincent says students should be showing this video in middle school. I agree. Feel free to share either my episode or her episode, as I said, in the chat, and the channel Adam has just dropped. Come Off Conqueror, abuse and trauma support. Share it around. This is how we start these conversations. That's what we're doing here, right? So yeah, good point, Patricia, good point.
Okay. In terms of that, the next thing you need to know is that you should get medical care as soon as possible, if it's not too late. Meaning, if you're 16 years or older, you have 4 days to get a rape kit, where they can collect DNA to prove whether or not it happened and to prove who it was. Okay. If you're younger than that, 15 years or younger, then it's only 3 days. Okay. So if it's been a few days, go. If you can, if this is immediate, like this just happened, try not to go to the bathroom and try not to bathe before you go, and wear the same clothes when you go get help. The reason you want to get medical care is because they can evaluate if there's any physical trauma to your private parts. Okay. Sometimes, especially if it's been violent, there can be actual trauma to your
trigger warning
to your body physically that can cause serious problems, UTIs, all sorts of things. Okay, so I don't want to scare you, but you need to go get medical help. Okay, not just because of STDs and things like that, but there can be things that can happen that can go wrong. So please go see a doctor. There is a I found a hospital that has a really great.
I think probably some of you can relate. The shame around, understandable, but like it's just tragic that we as women would feel such deep levels of shame and embarrassment because of the stigma that society puts on young women or any age women for being raped, is that she must have asked for it. What was she wearing? What was she doing out at night? Where was she? Why was she so drunk? Why she should have known better? All of these disgusting tropes that are perpetuated in our society. So it is all good and well to say you should go and seek treatment, particularly if you have physical trauma to your body as a result of a sexual assault or a rape. I guess having these conversations will help reduce. That's my goal, my aim is to reduce the stigma, and we open the conversations, and we can help people feel more comfortable to share their story and seek help, whether it's legal or medical or mental health help. But also Colours. Excuse me, the school teacher called me absolutely distraught, and the principal too, and then I got a call from the state asking if she needs counselling. So I missed the first one of those comments, which I'm sorry for, Colours. I missed what you said. Oh, my daughter, there we go. My daughter had an issue at school recently where a boy said he wanted to rape her and then exposed himself and started masturbating. The school freaked out because she wrote her teacher a note. Bravo to your amazing daughter, Colours. Love her anyway. Love her even more now. I'm so sorry that she experienced that. Yuck. Boys, do better. And then let me scroll through because you know me. I'm a professional. Yeah, love for your daughter and love for you. That's awful to have to think about, that your daughter having to be exposed to, literally and metaphorically, that kind of disgusting behavior by one of her peers. Topic reminder. Thanks, Adam. Hey, let's stay on topic for real. And Jess, yes, topic reminder. Yes, Kat, you. It's very distracting. Brave girl, says Patricia. Let's you know what? Let's put these in the chat. Brave girl, hand hearts.
Great article about the rape kits and what happens during an exam. And so I'll link to that down below so you can see what happens.
So rape kits, I mean, you don't have to answer, but one's in the chat. If you've ever had to be subjected to a rape kit exam, whatever you call it in your country, I just put a 1 in the chat myself. Yeah. While we're catching up with the time, Colours says, yeah, the boy was obsessed with her, so the school suspended him, but also moved him from any class she had with him. Are they counselling him on his vile behaviour, unacceptable behaviour? Are they just separating them? Because he'll do that again to someone else, So that's concerning. Margaret says, thank you for always bringing difficult but important discussions into the light, helping those who had these heartbreaking assaults in a safe community. Hopefully they feel less alone. Yes. Sharing my lived experiences with you all, talking about it, starting the conversation. Yeah, it's my pleasure, Margaret. That's my calling. This is my calling in life. If I've lived through all these things and don't try to help other people to feel less alone, then what's it even for? What's the point of all of it? Any of it, really.
During an exam, and what to expect. It's a great article. It's very detailed, and hopefully will help you feel more safe about doing that. Okay. You can also do it anonymously. You'll be given a code, a number, for your case, so that if you do decide to report later, you'll be able to get that information later. Okay. You do not have to give them your name when you go. Where do you get medical attention? That's another question I get asked.
Okay.
The hospital, any clinic.
Okay.
Planned Parenthood is a place, and he should.
See, context matters. It doesn't make his behavior excusable. But Colors says, yes, Miss Shorty, he's getting counseling. They told me they mandated it, and his mother had been murdered, and he found her. So I actually feel very bad for him. Ugh. Well, that escalated. It was already bad, and now it's even worse. The poor boy. But this might go back to our true crime roots, where it's all often spoken about as to, trauma in childhood or trauma in the formative years cannot be an excuse to future bad acts. Yeah. So if his trauma is manifesting in this kind of behavior now, and he's not counseled on it and given the appropriate mental health assistance and trauma and grief therapy counseling at this point, God knows what this young man might go on to do in 5 or 10 or 15 years' time if it's not addressed. So I think that it's probably, I hope that they're giving him adequate counseling so that he can be better equipped to deal with his trauma in more healthy, safe, socially acceptable, respectful towards women and other humans ways. So it's always helpful to have context and to be able to understand why people might be doing things. It's not making an excuse. It's just saying, okay, I can see now there's some issues there. Let's work on the issues and hopefully put a stopgap in for any future felonies.
Huge fan of Planned Parenthood, but they are really great when it comes to rape kits and helping victims. That's where I went when I experienced my date rape. I went to Planned Parenthood, but I could have gone to a hospital, could have gone to my doctor, I could have gone to women's centers. There's a lot of different places where you can go. I'm going to give you some additional resources here to help you find more places like that. The next thing that
So Bonnie is speaking from her own lived experience. And I mean, I can't imagine what it's like for you all in America with your somewhat recent turn back of time in terms of legislation and laws in terms of abortion. I guess if you are raped in the US, to be able to go to a Planned Parenthood or your GP or somewhere and have access to the morning after pill, whatever it's called, if that's still available. Is that available in your country? Lord, it's archaic. It's arcane and archaic and horrifying and terrifying. I mean, again, trigger warning. I myself have had an abortion, just one. Not as a result of rape. It was a consensual situation. But I can't imagine what my life would have been like, nor the child's life, if had I had to bear that child to birth and bring it into the world, nor for my two existing children. Like I was quite old. So yikes, America, what the actual fuck?
That I highly recommend doing is getting emotional help right away. Do not wait. I have found that in speaking with hundreds of survivors of rape and sexual assault, that the ones who seem to get help immediately
it is available. Good.
Are usually less affected. They're able to process and heal so much faster than the people who waited, who buried it, who decided to ignore and pretend it didn't happen. Those people tend to have more lasting and more serious effects later down the road. If you've read the book Body Keeps the Score, he talks a lot about that, about how this trauma can.
Have you read Body Keeps the Score, chat? I feel like I've got it in my Audible library. I'm not sure whether I've read it. Let me just check. My brain should remember, but I've read a lot of books. I think that a book like The Body Keeps the Score is a really important book. I know it is. If I haven't read it, I should have, and I meant to. Let me check. Checking. One's in the chat if you read The Body Keeps the Score. The Body Keeps Score. Body keeps the score. In your library. Have I read it? I've got 14 hours left. I'm going to put that in my ears when trials end. Lol. The Body Keeps the Score by it's called Mind, Brain, and Body in the Transformation of Trauma. I've read a couple of hours of it. By Bessel van der Kolk. Definitely. Good one. It's a good one. I know it's a good one. It's very well reviewed. I'm going to put it back into my ears ASAP.
And rear its ugly head through so many different things. It's not just stress and anxiety and that emotional trauma, but it can physically hurt you as well. It can show up in disease, literally.
If only it was that simple, AJ, huh? Okay, ma'am. Well, sometimes we don't intentionally suppress those things. I mean, I know for me, as a 14-year-old for my first 2 rapes. No, wait, 14 for my first one, 15 or so for my second one. I was in no way had the capacity to deal with it or share it with anybody. And actually, the slut shaming is real. It fucked my reputation up. Me being raped fucked my reputation up for my high school years, the rest of them. Thanks. I love that for me. Good point, AJ.
I have a friend who told me about a story about one of her friends who her inability to leave her spouse showed up in her inability to walk. She all of a sudden lost her leg function. It was crazy. So emotional trauma can show up physically. So where do you get emotional help? You can get a victim's advocate. There's lots of advocacy groups. There's tons of different types of therapists. There's talk therapy. There's EMDR or EDMR. I can never say it correctly. There's hypnotherapy. There's equine therapy. There's so many different types of therapy. And one of the things I love about this YouTube channel and this show is that I interview so many different survivors who have gone through tons of different types of therapy, and they give a lot of different resources and different help. So watch some of those videos and you'll get an idea of the different things that people have done to get help. You might want to get help from a lawyer as well. There are free
there's the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. It's on Audible.
And you can find that on some of these websites I'm going to give you. Each state has a victim advocacy program and free resources out there to help you. Some people ask if they should go to their ecclesiastical leader. I get asked that a lot, actually. And I think it depends on who your ecclesiastical leader is. If it's somebody that you feel comfortable talking to about this, and sure, go talk to them. They can be a great resource and a great strength and help to you. They can pray with you. They can help you understand the atonement further. If you're Christian, if you're Jewish, they also do some really great counseling and things like that. So it really just depends on who your ecclesiastical leader is. In some churches, it's you can be in really big trouble for being sexually assaulted, and outing the abuser, give it to your dad or something like that. There can be serious repercussions within that church. So,
excuse me, clearing my throat. You know it. It's the Turtle Boy slurp, but for Shorty, throat clear. AJ says, I literally out of nowhere remembered some interactions with a neighbor boy who was a teen, and I couldn't have been older than 10. Excuse me, wasn't even in therapy. Same girl. This is why we're doing this stream, because I can't remember what buzzword but triggered my memory of it. I hadn't suppressed it. I just don't think about it. It was a long time ago. Like, I'm 49 now, and the incident that got me back to doing this was when I was 15 or 16. But suddenly I'm like, I have to talk about this. Imagine. And then my brain started remembering all the other times I've been raped. And how I reacted or didn't react, how I froze every time, but for the very last one. No, not the very last one. One of the most recent ones. Oh, fuck. Interesting, isn't it? Things just come back to you, and suddenly, for me with this platform, I'm like, I have to do this. Because I'm sure there are other people in the Shorty community, or obviously on in the YouTubes, able to access this once it's no longer a live stream, or now. Hi lurkers, hi replay crew. sometimes we don't think about things and they come out, in our brains. Yeah, it's tough. So if you need to step away from this, if this is getting a little bit too intense, totally understand. Come if you want to have this discussion. As I said earlier, my Discord, I'm pretty sure, if I haven't already, let me just check, because I want to say I do. If I don't, let's talk sexual assault. Yeah. So I have a sexual assault and rape channel in my Discord server where you can have this conversation. If things come up out of this stream that you think, ugh, I maybe need to talk about this with someone, that's the place we can do it, okay?
So it just depends on who that ecclesiastical leader is and if you feel comfortable talking to them. Sometimes they're not trained to deal with these sort of things, so don't expect them to know all the answers. They most likely don't.
Patricia,
but they can be a great source of comfort.
I don't get it.
And help to you. There are so many different tools and resources out there, so many different books and podcasts and support groups. Our support group on Facebook is wonderful, but it might not be the right one for you. You might find something else that is better for you. Again, the videos and the interviews I share with these different survivors give a lot of different tools and resources, and I've linked to a million different books. So hopefully some of those will be helpful to you. The last question I get a lot is, should I report this rape, or should I report the sexual assault or the abuse? That is a really hard one to answer. Because of the fact that 80% of people know their abuser, it's really hard to report. You don't want to hurt that person's life. You don't want people to scrutinize you, right? Like if you report it and it goes to court, your personal character can be under attack by the abuser's defense attorney, right? Like there's so many things to consider when you report.
All of this, when I was discouraged, very strongly discouraged from pressing the charges on my multiple intimate partner rapes. I was a drug user then. I was a meth user, and also very recently no longer doing sex work and escorting. I was a nobody, like society-wise, in the eyes of, like I wasn't. I don't think that. I didn't think that then, but it was just the shame and the stigma. So do you report? I mean, in a beautiful, everything's perfect world, yes, report, press charges. Realistically, that's a tough one. Plus statute of limitations, yeah.
And so many reasons not to report, but let's talk about the reasons you might want to report. The first is that you can help protect future victims. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to get emotional, but in speaking with a lot of survivors, many of them regret not reporting because they later found out that there were other victims besides themselves. And they think to themselves, man, if I had
I don't want to talk over the top of this, of what she's talking about. It's very sensitive at the moment. She's talking about her own experience. So I'll skip back a little bit. But Turd Ferguson said, the bird 2024. Unfortunately, they weren't elected. So that's what that's referencing, is this comment. Campaign headquarters have not been contacted that we lost yet. I'm sure we would have gotten a call, but seriously, it is so fucked up. But then this is what I'm responding to. Thank you. It was just a silly joke, but it also wasn't. Sexual predators should not be in leadership positions. Rape is about power. I think you could also flip that and say it's no surprise that many people in power use that power to and the balance of control with sexual assaults, rapes, attempted rapes. Yikes. And generally generally it's men asserting their power through sexual means on women. Not always. Can be men on men, can be women on men. Not so often. But fuck. Anyway, I'm going to skip back a little tiny bit because she's talking about her own experience. So let's just...
User's defense attorney, right? Like there's so many things to consider when you report, and so many reasons not to report, but let's talk about the reasons you might want to report. The first is that you can help protect future victims. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to get emotional, but in speaking with a lot of survivors, many of them regret not reporting because they later found out that there were other victims besides themselves. And they think to themselves, man, if I had reported, this probably wouldn't have happened. And so they wish that they would have done something to stop that person, but they were too embarrassed, or they were ashamed, or they were worried that they were going to be dragged under the bus, or they were worried that people wouldn't believe them. I mean, there's so many reasons that you don't do it, right? But if you want to protect other people and you want to keep someone else from being hurt by that person, report it. And have a victim advocate or a lawyer on your side when you do it. Get help with the reporting process. There is a great article that I'm going to show you here in a second that shows what happens when you report, what the whole process is, and what that looks like, how you do it, what happens with the police, what happens in the legal system, et cetera. It goes through the whole steps. Okay. So before you do it, I highly suggest you look at this website and you get the information, especially because you can always report, but the statute of limitations may be up. So it depends on your state. So it might be too late to file charges if you've waited too long, like as in years. Okay. I think the statute of limitations is a few years for most states, if I remember right. And in many states, if you were a child when it happened, there is no statute of limitations for a lot of the states. So if you were a minor and you're now an adult, in many cases you can still report, and criminal charges can be filed. And you can stop that person from doing it again. And lastly, remember that attempted rape is still a crime. Just because they didn't actually get to do what they wanted to do doesn't mean that it wasn't a crime. You can still report on that. Hopefully that helped answer some of those questions. We're going to now switch over to RAIN's website, rain.org. They're the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network.
Trigger warning. Poppy just stood up and got a head pat. And I looked down on the tiles. Poppy's on heat. Is that all we need to say? Poppy's on heat at the moment. So that was my facial expression just then, because
they are one of the leading organizations that takes care of sexual assault victims. They're amazing. This is their website. This is their phone number. You can call them anonymously. You can ask questions, but I want to go through their survivor section. So let me now switch over to the desktop so you can see this. All right. So here's RAIN's website. You can see right here, they have a chat option. Their phone number is right there. But this is where I want to show.
Yeah, AJ doggy diapers. Yes. My dogs are, destructo dogs. And I feel like what I'd come home to, and what maybe while I was here, but would be just ripped up diapers all over the house. And to be honest, Adam, close your ears. He hates this. But the delightful creatures lick it up off the floor after straight away. So, the joys. Colors. She was born in February, so she's coming up to being 2. I want her to have some puppies, 1 litter of puppies, but then I'm moving to America, and I joked with Adam earlier that I can't take them for a walk for the next couple of weeks while Poppy's on heat, because if I did, she'll get pregnant for sure, and then I'll have to fly to America with Poppy, Buster, and 6 puppies, and Tim the cat. So, yeah. And then I'll get a desexed. What's it called? Neutered. Desexed. Anyway, she's getting some good resources here. Let's keep listening.
Show you.
And yes, she was pouring out her heart. She is pouring out her heart. And mad respect to this woman.
After sexual assault here, this page. So this is where you can go find what to do with the criminal justice system. And this is some recovering tips of how.
Lisa, mute yourself while you're chewing.
So this for survivor section is wonderful. How can, if you want to know about therapy and if you should do therapy, here's some information about that. How can you prevent it from happening again? How do you tell your family about this? Let's say you're a teenager and you want to tell your parents. Oh, how in the world do I do that, right? For a long time, my family didn't know about my date rape. It was really hard to tell them I didn't.
I was muted.
I knew it was
damn
gonna
it.
hurt my family.
Wait. Fucking
And
hell. That was good too.
And I did.
Hang on. Wait, I know I'm muted. I'm sure you're all telling me I'm muted. Hi, it's me. Hi, it's me. I'm a professional. God, it all went to shit, didn't it? I was doing so fucking well. You know me, chat. You know me. This is me. Hey, it's me. I was saying, and it was hilarious, but you didn't hear because I was muted, because cheese. That should probably mean that Turd has stepped out for a moment, and next time she steps back in, I'll be muted again. And I said, can I pat that dog? Can I pat that dog? Can I pat that dog? Call back. But then I muted, then I unmuted, then I swiped myself out. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I love this for us. Shizer.
I didn't want them to hurt. Right? I wanted to protect them from it. But and especially if you're younger, you need that support. You need that help. So please tell your family. Here's some tips on how you can do that. This section, the self-care, what to do for yourself. Oh my gosh, this section's awesome. Okay. It's really great. It gives some really great resources and tips what to do. If you are the caregiver, someone who's been assaulted, here are some tips and help for you as well. And then this page, like I told you about the reporting of the criminal justice. Look at this. This is awesome. This is how to report. This is, it goes through what you do and who you're going to be talking to. Is there a time limit, right? Like, and then some common questions that they're going to ask you. A lot of your questions will be answered here.
Wait,
this,
let me just say
what to expect from the criminal justice system, what happens after you reported, what happens in a trial. So a lot of those questions are answered here in this section. It's fantastic. Rain has done such a great job. They talk to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rape victims and sexual assault victims. They know how to help you. Okay. If you feel lost and you're just not sure what to do, call the hotline. You can do it anonymously. You can ask your questions and they can help you find help and help direct you towards what to do. The next group I want to show you is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Okay, this is the hotline.org. Another great resource. They have a texting program, so you can text START to 88788. All right, and when you talk to them, here's what's going to happen. This is why I wanted to show you this page. Okay, so if you call them, this is what you can expect. Okay, they're going to first say to you, "Thanks for reaching out. Are you in a safe place to talk? Can you talk about this right now? If not, let's get you there." Right, that's the first and foremost concern from them. Is it if you are.
Chat, I just dropped the link to Rain, which is what she's talking about now in the chat. So that. What's a Outback? What's a Blossom? Like, what's a Blossom? We don't have Outback Steakhouse here. It's like an American thing. I've never even heard of it until all you Americans started talking about it. Adam's come backstage to try and rein me in for my swipe outs muted. I've got this. I'm a professional. Jeez. Chat, come on now. Come on now. Come on. We can do this. We can be serious. Okay. Carry on. This.
You're safe right now. Okay. And if you're not safe, here's how we get you safe. Okay. So you can kind of see these drop downs kind of talk a little bit more about each of these things. And then they're going to ask about your situation. Okay. And then they're going to help you brainstorm solutions and how to get out, what to do. Okay. I love this part. The fact that they're going to ask you and help you get out of your situation is huge.
Talk slow.
I want to get back to my PowerPoint real fast to make sure I'm not missing anything.
PowerPoint. Back to your PowerPoint, girl. My homework. Come on now.
Okay, so yeah, I went through that. So that is, let me stop sharing. That is some a lot of information I have thrown at you about what is sexual assault and how to deal with it and how to report and if you should report and things like that. I hope that this was helpful for you.
Thank you, darling. Bonnie, we love
as
you.
a way of personal story, I did not report
Mad respect, Bonnie.
my date rape. I didn't, because at the time I wasn't convinced it was date rape. What happened to me was I was dating a guy and we'd been making out and things had gone a little too far. And I was like, whoa, we've gone too far. And I remember saying to him specifically, I think we need to stop now. Like we've gone too far. And he says to me, and I quote, "You cannot bring me to this point and not let me finish." And I froze. We talk a lot about fight or flight, but no one ever talks about the freeze response. But most people freeze when they're in that situation. If your no is not
response
respected, what do you do when your consent isn't listened to, right? Your no consent, and you freeze a lot of times. And I didn't say anything. And I just sat there like, I didn't know what to do. And by the time he was done,
just pausing in the middle of her very heartfelt story, which is probably not the best timing, but you know me. I just dropped again the link to this episode from Come Off Conqueror. Don't love the channel name. I probably could have helped her with the marketing a bit there. And this episode, her name is Bonnie Randall, and that's the episode in the chat right now if you want to watch it again without me rabbiting on.
Before I could even say anything or do anything, he was done. It was so crazy. And I remember going home to my roommate, and my roommate could say I was white as a ghost. And she was like, "What happened?" And I told her what happened. She's like, "He just raped you. You need to break up with him." I'm like, that wasn't rape. We were making out. I'm dating him. And she's like, no, this is rape. And it took so many people telling me that what happened was rape that I finally, over a few years, started to believe that what happened. Because as a good Christian girl, as a girl who grew up in a Christian household, I was taught that you don't even get to that point, right? Like there's morals, and we had gone past that boundary. And I'm like, well, I was complicit. I was hanging out with them. I was doing things I shouldn't be doing, So I thought that I was complicit in the intercourse, and I wasn't. It was not my fault. Yeah, I needed to accept my own actions and what I did to get there, maybe, right? Like it wasn't good for me to be doing the things I was doing in the first place, but that doesn't mean that it was okay for him to go all the way, right? And that is why this episode for me is so important, because we need to understand consent, and you need to understand that these things are not okay. What happened to you is not okay.
I just realized I was Adam's backstage and I was giving him thumbs up and smiling while she's talking about some pretty serious stuff. So I just wanted to let you all know that I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Bonnie and telling her story, and that wasn't cool of me. Sorry, chat. Sorry, Bonnie.
And it is traumatizing. But the hope is that you can heal from it. I have healed from it.
Let me go back a bit.
What do you do when your consent isn't listened to, right? Your no consent. That is a lot of information I have thrown at you about what is sexual assault and how to deal with it and how to report and if you should report and things like that. I hope that this was helpful for you. As a way of personal story, I did not report my date rape. I didn't, because at the time I wasn't convinced it was date rape. What happened to me was I was dating a guy and we'd been making out and things had gone a little too far. And I was like, whoa, we've gone too far. And I remember saying to him specifically, I think we need to stop now. Like we've gone too far. And he says to me, and I quote, "You cannot bring me to this point and not let me finish." And I froze. We talk a lot about fight or flight, but no one ever talks about the freeze response. But most people freeze when they're in that situation. If your no is not respected, what do you do when your consent isn't listened to, right? Your no consent, and you freeze a lot of times. And I didn't say anything. And I just sat there like, I didn't know what to do. And by the time he was done, before I could even say anything or do anything, he was done. It was so crazy. And I remember going home to my roommate, and my roommate could say I was white as a ghost. And she was like, "What happened?" And I told her what happened. She's like, "He just raped you. You need to break up with him." I'm like, that wasn't rape. We were making out. I'm dating him. And she's like, no, this is rape. And it took so many people telling me that what happened was rape that I finally, over a few years, started to believe that what happened. Because as a good Christian girl, as a girl who grew up in a Christian household, I was taught that you don't even get to that point, right? Like there's morals, and we had gone past that boundary. And I'm like, well, I was complicit. I was hanging out with them. I was doing things I shouldn't be doing, So I thought that I was complicit in the intercourse, and I wasn't. It was not my fault. Yeah, I needed to accept my own actions and what I did to get there, maybe, right? Like it wasn't good for me to be doing the things I was doing in the first place, but that doesn't mean that.
No, girl, that's your learned guilt. How many of us have been in this situation where, like, I put myself in that spot? I shouldn't have. No. Poor girl, poor woman, poor all of us, poor women. Sorry for the dirty paws, Bonnie. We love you.
I mean, that it was okay for him to go all the way, right? And that is why this episode for me is so important, because we need to understand consent, and you need to understand that these things are not okay. What happened to you is not okay. And it is traumatizing. But the hope is that you can heal from it. I have healed from it. It took going to therapy for me. You can watch more of my video down below. We'll link it down below, and I'll tell you exactly what I did to heal, and you can hear my healing journey. I won't go into all that in this episode, but I want you to know that healing is possible. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay a victim. What happened to you happened to you. It is not who you are. You are not a victim. You were victimized, but you are not a victim. You can move past this, and you can become a survivor and a conqueror. You can take back your power. Oftentimes when this stuff happens to you, you feel powerless. You feel so vulnerable. You feel dirty. You feel violated. You feel gross. So much darkness all around you.
All of that.
But I promise you that if you seek healing, if you go to therapy, you read some books, you talk to people, you process what's happening, you unbury what happened to you, you can and will heal. You will move past this. You will no longer be held down by these chains. You will be free. You will be back to the bright light and the amazing person that you are, because you are amazing. You are incredible. You have so many talents and so much worth. I know that right now you feel like you have no worth. You feel like a used $20 bill. My girlfriend, my friend, that $20 bill is still a $20 bill. It's still worth 20 bucks. And you're worth more like $1 million. Hold on, let me rephrase that. You have infinite value. You are amazing. God loves you. He made you, and he doesn't make mistakes. Just because this happened to you does not mean that you were tainted.
Beautiful.
And understanding the atonement and understanding what God did for you and what Christ did for you on that cross, that you can be healed. He heals all wounds, not just sin, all wounds. That's what he died for on that cross. Every single hurt.
I mean,
can be healed. And I promise that if you seek the healing, you seek the resources, that you will find the answers, and you will find the tools and the help that you need. I promise. And if you need a listening ear, if you tried to talk about this to somebody and they didn't believe you, please message me. Reach out. I will believe you.
Message me.
And I will help you find the resources that you need to get the help. I've done it for dozens of people so far, and I will continue to doing that, because that is the whole point of the show, is to give help and healing and help people. I love you, and God loves you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching this video and for sharing it with someone who needs to hear it.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie. We love you. God loves you. We love you. Wait. Stop sharing. Pause. Hi. Another thing. Oh my God. Jeez. Whatever he's talking about. Some random dude. So sweet. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie. Absolutely, Ted. If you like, we could watch her healing journey, or I have a different someone with a totally different platform. Let me just check. So this woman has 1.94 million subscribers. The channel is called Therapy in a Nutshell. And this is a much shorter video. This is a 12, 13-minute video. And she's talking about the freeze response in the freeze response and sexual assault, PTSD and trauma recovery, part 2. I could not for the life of me find part 1. So, yeah. She's very nice. Yes. And Margaret says, it is hard not to have bad things happen to us and not scream, God, where are you? Yeah. I mean, I'm not a hugely religious person. I am spiritual, and I believe in more than just what we see in front of us. I believe in the universe, and I believe in all sorts of things. Excuse me. Oh, the throat clear. Hang on, Chad. Are you there? Got it to me, Margaret. Nice one, turd. Lighten the load. That. So I think we'll go with oh, Nonna Robin. I just started having night terrors, reliving all my traumas. I'm so sorry. That's so tough. That's tough. I mean, I hope you have someone to talk to. If you don't, or even if you do, if you're that way inclined, my Discord server is a beautiful place to talk to people who've either experienced similar things or have a loved one who have also. So that's something to think about. But I'm sorry, night terrors are awful. Trauma is shit. All trauma is worthy and valid and real. Perception is reality. And don't let anyone ever tell you ever that your trauma is lower on a hierarchy compared to other people's trauma, because it's this. Margaret the Young, yeah, there was a book called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, and she got her periods and stuff. Yes, Turd Ferguson says it's a book we all read in the 80s. Flowers in the Attic. Yikes. Hey Adam, sidebar. I just thought maybe we could sometime watch Twilight as well on our movie dates, but you've got a lot of movies to catch up before I get to get another pick. Okay, so let's move on to this next one. This woman. So Bonnie Randall had like 255 odd ish subscribers. This woman, True Therapy in a Nutshell, has 1.9 million. But this I think this was, oh, okay. So this was not 5 years ago. Oh yeah, it is 2019, 5 years ago. So let's watch this. It's talking about trauma and the freeze response in sexual assault. Yes. Robin, my doctor, yes, a therapist for sure, absolutely. Nina's here. Good to see you, Nina. Thank you for being here. Lovely to see you. Wait. Let's watch this lady. Her name is something. She's a doctor. She's proper. This. That's so professional. Look at me go. I can do it.
Me and swiped his hand up my butt and then said things in a menacing way, but in a foreign language. And do you know what my response was? I said, "I'm sorry," as if my butt had somehow forced his hand to grope it. Now, that response makes no logical sense, but in the light of the Me Too movement, people are asking, why didn't she speak up? Or why didn't I fight back? Or why didn't I resist? And when 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys have been sexually assaulted, but the vast majority of them did nothing in the moment, they froze up, we as a society have to understand.
Jess, you have mine and Adam and Turd and Ernie's and Chat's full permission to not be here for this, and that goes for anybody here in the chat right now, or if you're on replay and it's getting a little bit too confronting, please take some time for yourself, step away, particularly if you're already feeling like you already had a burnout meltdown this morning. Just I love you and you don't need to be here. I'm better word choices, Lisa. We love you enough more than enough. We love you more than anything in the world. We don't want you to be re-traumatized by listening to this. So take a moment, girl. We love you.
Stand the freeze response if we're going to understand sexual assault. Every single survivor of sexual assault that I have met with in therapy froze during the assault. And most submitted and most felt shame. 1 in 4 of your Facebook friends has been sexually assaulted. Please share this video, as one of them may need to hear this to forgive themselves.
I'm going to drop the link to the video in the chat.
You may think of freezing up as just inaction, but it is much, much deeper than that. These are instincts that are deeply hardwired into our brain's survival center. We've been taught that we need to say no, to resist, to escape. But so often, victims feel paralyzed to do so. One survivor said, "We're told that we need to respect ourselves enough to fight back." But that was the mystery to me. I did respect myself, but I could never bring myself to literally say the word no or fight back. My voice always just seemed to shrink away as my body went limp. Worse yet, sometimes I found myself smiling, hoping that by encouraging these behaviors in the moment, I could cooperate myself out of the.
I think, I don't know, I didn't watch this one time, but I watched the beginning of it and I liked it, and she's got a lot of views, so I thought it'd probably be good. What she's saying now is about the smiling. Found herself smiling, hoping that by encouraging these behaviors in the moment, I could cooperate myself out of the situation. I think we'll find that's called fawning. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. This is fawning. Go along to get along, yeah? Just let me ride this through.
The situation. Just play along until you can escape, I thought. Not fighting back, not saying no, is not a form of consent or participation in
a beautiful, supportive, kind comment from Margaret. To everyone in chat who are still dealing with effects of the horrible assault against you and you've been through, you are strong, beautiful, and survivors. I wish you be surrounded by love, healing, and peace. Amen, Margaret. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's what we're here for here.
In a sexual act. It's actually your brain's most desperate attempt at survival. When we talk about our brain taking over in dangerous situations, we often talk about the fight or flight response. But the reaction, the freeze response, doesn't get much attention. This response is the result of our ancient brain flipping a switch, turning off our logic, turning off our thinking, and switching to the one and only option that is left to save our lives, freezing. So let's look at this in nature for a second. Here's an example of a duck that is completely immobile in the presence of a much larger animal, a duck.
Cherd says, I'm a freezer. I'm more of a fawner. I'm very good at being whoever I need to be to get me through a situation, sex work. But also that same abuser, the multiple rape abuser, highly abusive, very, very dangerous situation, excuse me, I can remember at least 2 occasions where, based on what I was living through with him, that trigger warning culminated in him kicking me full in the face with a boom, straightforward kick while I was sitting bailed up against the wall in my nose, and then eventually having to run for my life. Terrifying. That's for another day. But I got to the point where I could put myself into such a state of dissociation, that I could be basically catatonic on demand just to get myself through. So that's freezing. But I would also fawn. I would also go along to get along, and I have done that many times in my life for in sexual assault and sexual violence and rape situations, plural.
Dog, and when the dog looks away, the duck's able to escape with its life. Now, the survivor that I quoted previously said this. As a scientist, I conducted experiments on the stress response of birds. One phenomenon I've seen over and over is something called tonic immobility. We would trap these birds, handle them extensively, and put colorful bands on their legs to mark them. Now, understandably, all this could severely stress the bird, but when we released them, they usually didn't try to fight back or escape. We would carefully place them on the ground, and often they would lay just like that, perfectly immobile, for several minutes before flying freely away. These birds' survival instincts overpowered their physical ability to fly away. They were stuck in freeze mode because their ancient instinctual brain decided that was the safest option. So this tonic immobility literally means that your brain turns off your muscles' ability to react in order to keep you alive. So why does sexual assault elicit a survival response? Rape and sexual assault isn't about sex. It's about power and control and dominance. Rape has been used as a tool of war through history to submit the populace to the invaders. It happened in World War II, in the rape of Nanking, the Russian army entering Germany, and many, many more wars through the history of the world. And if a woman who was being assaulted by an invading soldier fought back, she would probably just be killed. There was little hope of fleeing. Freezing, submitting, cooperating were her best hopes of survival. And our anciently evolved brain knows that better than we can realize.
Yikes. Muted. Always fucking muted. Where were we? Margaret. I had a traumatic, heartbreaking situation 20 years ago, and I just froze and fawned. I had to forgive myself for not standing up for myself and remove self from abusive situation. Margaret, I'm so sorry. Sadly, I think many of us here have been in similar situations. It's so important to forgive yourself. You did the best that you could. And she's talking now, this doctor, about how we don't really have control over often how we react and respond to traumatic situations. It's a very primal response, a survival mode response. Yeah. So I'm glad you have managed to forgive yourself, Margaret, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
In our modern culture of sexual harassment and assault, these reactions don't seem to function too well. But our ancient brain still defaults to these survival responses during threats.
Margaret, honestly, everybody's trauma is valid and equal. And if whatever we've lived through, if it's created traumatic memories, if it's caused you distress, then it's valid. There's no hierarchy of trauma. No trauma is worse than any other trauma. Trauma is real and it's all equal, in my opinion. And I'm a really strong advocate for that. So please don't diminish or you don't need to. You don't need to. We are here for you. Trauma is trauma. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. But having said that, yes, agreed. When I was in my domestic violence situation, I didn't ever, with the second one, I didn't ever realize or acknowledge how serious it was, because I had that same kind of outlook. I'm like, well, it's not that bad. Like, he's not beating me to a pulp. I'm not getting hospitalized with, covered in blood. This isn't proper. This is just it's like I gaslit myself and diminished my experience, because I at the time didn't understand that it was awful for me. It was awful, full stop. It was awful. And so yeah, trauma is trauma. Yes, Adam.
In 2001, there was a study on college-aged women in which subjects were asked highly inappropriate questions in a job interview setting. For example, do you wear bras to work? Do you find yourself sexually
wearing
desirable?
one right now, and it's so uncomfortable.
Their results show that gap between what we think we should or would do and our actions in the moment. So each of the women had previously said that if they were to be sexually harassed, they would respond by being confrontational, by leaving, by reporting it. But when it actually happened, not a single one of them reacted as they had imagined they would. Instead, the researchers saw a startling response in the video recordings of these interactions. The women sat patiently and answered the questions while smiling. Now, whether you find this validating or horrifying, another study showed 70% of sexual assault victims reported significant tonic immobility. And only around 5% of rape victims file a police report.
5%.
And that's because speaking up is dangerous. 5%. Society shames them. Their boss may fire them. Romantic partners may shun them. But this freeze response isn't logical or planned. It's a reflex, an instinct, and a physiological reaction that's triggered by high-stress situations. Even if we wanted to scream or yell or kick, our brain ensures that our muscles are frozen because millions of years of evolution say that freezing is the safest response. And it's incredibly difficult to override our body's natural response in the moment. So let me show you an example.
Chat, again, I just dropped the link to this episode in chat if you want to go back and watch it again. See if you can find part 1. Couldn't find it. Needle in a haystack, mate. She's been going for 5 years. I know, I was very tired. But that's the link, so let's keep watching. Her channel is called Therapy in a Nutshell. Hey, trigger warning. Yikes. I don't like it. Ah!
Could you watch that video without feeling a little squeeze in your stomach?
No, I couldn't.
Or taking a sharp intake of breath?
Yes.
Your brain has powerful tools to manage danger. And just like you couldn't stop those reactions from happening, a victim of sexual assault often can't just say no or fight back because this reaction, this tonic immobility, literally locks the muscles in place.
AJ says, we will find a way to blame ourselves in many situations. There may have been some moments in my life where freezing might have been the smart choice. I have fought some grown men. Results vary. Huh? Yeah, same. It's all right, chat. It gets better. Oh my God, what are we watching? Yeah, I don't know. She's talking about. You get to it. You'll get to it. Yeah, AJ, I've fought back too. Not always do I freeze. More not in sexual assault and rape situations, but I did fight back against my abuser a couple of times. The result for me was a near-death experience that lasted for about 4 days, but that's for another time as well. Come on, mouse, let's do this.
The brain is more likely to force a freeze response in the face of overwhelming adversaries.
I didn't know it was coming either.
Women tend to be smaller, weaker, or of lower status than men. Men who are sexually assaulted are usually assaulted by an older, larger, or higher-ranking individual, whether that be a pastor, teacher, coach, or prison inmate. The freeze response becomes the brain's only remaining mechanism. When that man grabbed my butt, I was alone on the streets of a foreign country. A language I didn't speak, my brain sized up the situation in a microsecond and made the decision for me. Be compliant and he'll go away, it said. And he did. My brain was right. It worked. During a sexual assault, we can risk death by trying to escape or fight or not. Doing our best to appease the dominant members of the tribe might allow us to escape with minimal bodily damage. So what do we do about this? Number 1, stop blaming yourself or others for this response. It is a natural reaction. Your brain took over to save your life. A recent article on this ended with saying this is enough. And I can agree with that to a degree. You have to put the responsibility where it honestly lies, with the perpetrator. The crime is their responsibility. And that's a great first step. But this article basically said, I don't know what else you can do. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I do know from personal experience that you can train yourself to respond differently sometimes. In the years following my assault, I was trained in self-defense for one of my jobs. And I was trained to be a wilderness first responder with an excellent teacher who threw surprising and stressful situations upon us. So people would run into the classroom with their arm on fire, or they'd begin choking in class, like they were acting. But regardless, it was scary. And in the beginning, we all froze up. But we practiced and practiced our protocol until our new reaction was to take life-saving steps. So I trained my reaction to stress to be the behavior that I chose. So putting out the fire or performing.
I mean, that's what they do in the defense force, isn't it? They train the fight or flight or freeze out of you. they basically deprogram you so that you will go into any situation and continue to be in that situation, no matter how much your brain would normally go into survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But in the army and defense armed forces, that's what they're doing. Not to make it. I'm not a huge fan. I respect and honor the people who have fought for their countries. Miss Jessica being one of them. I have a huge issue with governments that send their people in with that kind of deprogramming and have no duty of care and no care factor for what comes out the other end.
Forming the Heimlich maneuver. Now, training can replace reflexes. Now, after that class and after those self-defense courses, when I was 22, I returned to that foreign country where I'd been assaulted. And one day out on the streets with a friend, a group of young men walked aggressively toward us. One of them got in the face of my friend, inches from her face. And this time my reaction was different. Instead of freezing, submitting, or apologizing for taking up space, I hit him hard in the shoulder, hard enough to send him tumbling like somersaulting with a look of embarrassment. And we walked away safely.
Booyakasha.
Now, that situation would have been different if they were bigger, more numerous, or armed. My brain probably still would have defaulted to freeze at that point, and there's no shame in that. Freezing serves a purpose, so don't beat yourself up over it. But in the face of sexual harassment at the workplace or in dating, I do believe we can intentionally train ourselves to respond differently to these attacks. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. I wish victims didn't even have to deal with this. If there weren't perpetrators out there, then we wouldn't need to take so many actions to increase our safety. But that being said, can I have it both ways? Can I say, it's not your fault you froze, and you can train yourself to respond differently in the future? And the real responsibility for this rests on the perp, and we should take our own safety into our own hands. Now, if I can have it both ways, then I say, take a rape aggression defense class or two. Actively begin to retrain your stress response through exposure to safe yet stressful experiences like rock climbing, martial arts, or exposure therapy. Practice role plays so your brain has a couple of default options to choose from if you happen to be assaulted or harassed. But above all, let's work toward understanding ourselves and each other with compassion. Be kind to yourself and others who have experienced sexual assault. Judgment and blame simply aren't helpful. I believe that we as a culture can take action towards stopping sexual assault and harassment, but to do that, we need to understand why survivors act the way they do in the face of danger. My mission is to create mental health resources that are easy to access so that people know how to help others with mental illness. I've got courses on udemy.com with mental health basics and how to help family and friends with mental illness. I'm currently working to make more courses on trauma, so check out my website if you'd like to.
Chat, I'm just going to show you some of her. Oh, that was a big noise. Big yawn. That one. Are you tired, guys? Hang on. What am I doing with my life? Roll up. Roll up. Thanks. All right. Let's have a look. So she's still going. 3 months ago, 1 day ago, 14 things that actually help severe anxiety. How to get yourself to do stuff. Videos. Where is this? Videos. So I think this one could be a great channel for us to have in our toolbox of maybe not everybody can afford financially to have therapy. Maybe some of us don't have the spoons or the time, spoons as in emotional capacity, bandwidth. So why is everyone getting diagnosed with ADHD, narcissism, and trauma? Why do you blame yourself for everything? Can we talk about forgiveness? ADHD and time blindness. Oh my God, chat. We'll watch that another time. Next neurodivergent stream. Yes, I love this. What a cool channel, huh? Look at this. The container method for overwhelming feelings here. Overwhelming feelings. How to set boundaries for anxious people. Menopause. How menopause impacts mental health. Excuse me. Excuse me. So she's taken a little while to load. She's got a lot of content here, chat. Make sure you can see it, because if I'm just talking to the abyss, oh good, you can. I'm dying. Understanding anxiety, trauma, and burnout. Oh my God. Yikes. Now I'm just looking. Pretty cool. Do you pull out your hair or pick at your skin? I'm a massive skin picker. Not these days so much, but yeah. Okay, I've got one more video. I don't think I'm going to do any I don't think we need to hear any trauma dump stories of mine beyond what I've already told you. We can do another stream on this if you like in the future. But this is a really powerful this one. Wait, stop sharing. Give me a tick, chat. Follow her. Subscribe to her channel. Love. Excuse me. Share. This one's short, couple of minutes, and then we'll call it a night. It's getting late, and thank you so much, chat, for being here. Thank you, replay crew. Thank you, lurkers. I hope that this hasn't been too triggering and traumatic. I hope it's been helpful in some way. Yes, Turd, I subscribed. Lovely. Hang on, wait, I'm sharing. I can't put it up on the screen for a sec. Share. This is a TED Talk. Oh, wait. New Zealand accent. Get ready, chat. My pleasure, Ernie.
I'm Sarah, and I'm labelled a victim by the justice system. Remember when you were 14 years old, the hairstyles, I wanted a perm, the fashion, the music, devices? As a 14-year-old, we're trying to look older, be older, act older, and then we get older and we want to be young again. We may experiment with alcohol and drugs, not knowing what our tolerance levels are. I was trying to be older at 14, and I've kept a secret about something that happened then. Everyone has secrets. Could be shoplifting, driving a car when you shouldn't have. Maybe you smoked cigarettes.
Shoplifting. So the Australian, sorry, no, I don't want to interrupt her when she's talking. It's only 11 minutes. Excuse me. Sorry, Turtle Boy slip. Miss Shorty, throat clear. The Australian accent is generally quite lazy in terms of what we do with our mouth. Our mouths generally stay quite closed. For me to say park the car and to say things with a US accent, I have to open my mouth up quite wide. I've told this story before. In Australia, our accent comes from back when the colonists invaded the First Nations people's country and colonized it. Cute. I love that for humankind. There were a lot of flies, and actually it's been hot this week and the flies have come out, and they're fucking everywhere, mate. They go all around your mouth. It's not like swarms of flies, but you constantly have a pesky fly around you, yeah? So the Australian accent comes from keeping your mouth quite closed to minimize the flies flying in your mouth. And the New Zealand accent, interestingly, because New Zealand is a cooler climate than Australia. It's further south, and it's a much smaller island, so it's more susceptible to the weather. So her accent, but their accent, Australian accents, New Zealand accents, are like fish and chips. They really don't open their mouth. Sucks. If something's 5, 6, 7, 8, they go 5, 6. It's funny. So enjoy the New Zealand accent. And while I'm paused, Emily says, I see so many episodes I want to watch. Right, Emily? It looks good. She's got almost 2 million subscribers. She's obviously good. Not hugely long, good bite-sized videos. So good, so good. Yes, I have heard of Giselle Perco. Yes. that's wild. I think Gazella on Grizzly True Crime did a couple of episodes about that. Disgusting. And Giselle, her name is Giselle. Gazella is a hard G. Insisted that she be identified by name and that she be filmed in court because she wants to give victims a voice, to change the culture and the laws in France to let victims and survivors of sexual assault and rape, whether it's at the hands of their husband or strangers or any other intimate partner, because by not allowing victims, survivors to be seen and heard, it's diminishing and minimizing their experience. What are we ashamed? What are we ashamed of? They don't want that sort of thing, is to help other people feel comfortable, not about the survivor or the victim being uncomfortable. They don't want to know. It's a we don't want to know thing. So yes. Ted says the New Zealand accent is to Australia what the Irish accent is to the UK. Yes. Y'all hear that? Ooh, yes. Two. What does it say here? Sometimes I don't work out how to scroll properly. Giselle gave up privacy to prosecute over 50 men. Her cry is shame needs switch sides. Yes. Fun fact. Anytime. That's me. That's me with my accent stuff. Boom. Okay, let's listen. And I won't interrupt her because this is really powerful. And the accent. Love.
Regrets or something else. Secrets are great. They're safe. They may pop up, but you can put them back in their box. I shared a secret for the first time last year. I reported it to a police station. Why, after 35 years, would you say anything? Keeping a secret is safe, but letting it out is scary. Fear of being judged, blamed, shamed. It was my fault. I shouldn't have been drinking.
Margaret, no, terrible.
I told the police that I was raped. I was a child. I was a virgin. I did not give consent. That was my secret. I told no one, no friends, no family. There's a stigma associated with rape. For me, it sounds disgusting. It hangs in the air. Is she a slut? Once said I felt it was tattooed, etched on my forehead. I would look around at people looking at me, thinking they know and they are judging me. Who do you tell? Who will believe you? Who won't blame you? How would you react as a parent if your child told you this? People are encouraged to speak out, but is it safe and will you get the right support? From that day, I was labelled a victim by the New Zealand criminal justice system. For me, that was very disempowering. Why call me a victim? The accused was simply that. He was the accused, not the rapist. I felt strong. I felt courageous. Call me a complainant. Give me a choice as to how you define me. Give me some dignity, please. Others may prefer to be called survivor. It's a personal choice. Give us a choice in a system where we are powerless. People have good intentions. They use words along with victim, like healing and journey. I am not healing. I'm not broken, and you cannot fix me. I am not on a journey. There is no destination. There is no path. There is no closure. This was all new to me, the language, the process, the crying. I had floodgates for the child that I was. Have you been uncontrollably sad, grieving for something you've lost or someone you've lost? Then you will know that you lose perspective. You are not in control of those situations when you're in that emotional state. I am not alone. 1 in 5 women will experience high-end sexual assault in New Zealand in their lifetime. Look around at how many people
Excuse me. So that statistic remains the same whether it's in the States or in Australia or in New Zealand. It's the same. 1 in 3 experience rape, sexual assault or sexual violence. 1 in 5 experience rape, and we all, I think, agree that that those statistics are very much underreported because of the underreporting of these incidents.
People are here. A secret shared or not shared, or maybe you can't look around. So where is the national body for those reporting rape? Our systems are broken and fragmented. I phoned rape crises. This is where it gets good. Please hang up and phone 111 if this is an emergency. Press 1 for Northland, press 2 for Auckland, press 3 for Waikato. I hung up. I wasn't trying to get a bank account balance. I was reporting rape. Sometimes you won't even get a real person answering that phone. I got the courage to phone up again, and I was referred to the police. How many people don't phone back? It takes courage to report a sexual assault. There are associated symptoms: mental health, depression, substance abuse, and suicide. We are one of the worst countries in the world for sexual assault stats and suicide. Let's not bury our heads in the sand or look away. Surely we're better than that. And people deserve help. I couldn't reverse the process.
What are you doing?
I couldn't put the secret back in its box. My brain was stuck on rewind. My mental health was affected. Fortunately, I had counselling through ACC with a qualified sexual abuse counsellor. I was given a victim support brochure by the police. This may have been useful if I had my house broken into or if I was in a car accident, but I was raped. I felt pitied when I needed strength. I needed to know the language the police would use. I needed to know how long it would take for the investigation. Hey, took you 35 years to say anything. What's another few months? We need qualified advocates to help people navigate through this difficult process of reporting sexual assault. The police have come a long way since the early 1980s when I was raped. Thanks to those forced to challenge the system, like the very brave Louise Nicholas. The detective who led my investigation was kind, he was caring, he treated me with dignity and respect. Most crucially, he believed me. I truly believe that if I'd reported my rape back at the age of 14 in the early 1980s, I would not have been believed, like many others. There is a significant increase internationally on people reporting sexual assaults with the media attention and the Me Too movement. Society is overwhelmed and they're struggling and debating this very confrontational topic. New Zealand sensitive claims have had an 85% increase of people reporting sexual assaults. Great that it's been reported, but where are our support services? Only 1 out of 100 sexual violations in New Zealand will end with a conviction. 1%. Where are we going wrong? Because this is wrong.
Chad, I feel like those statistics would be replicated in the States and in Australia. I haven't done the research, but all my other research suggests that the statistics are comparable across the Western world. So this is horrifying.
Victim statements alone, no matter how strong or credible, are deemed not sufficient to proceed to court. There is no other option for complainants. Other countries have alternative processes. They have a restorative justice process. European countries have made significant progress to provide options other than a criminal court for complainants and the accused. The majority of investigations will end how mine ended: insufficient evidence to proceed to court. No DNA, no credible witnesses, no statement from the accused. I will never see his response. He will never be held accountable. Maybe he regrets what he did. Maybe he wants to say, I'm sorry. Neither of us will have that opportunity. Maybe it was better for my mental health to stay quiet. My police file is 80 pages long. The police worked hard. There are photos taken from the house. There are witness statements. But my file has a big red stamp. Inactivated. I'm confident the police are equally frustrated with the justice system as I am, having this not going to court. They believed me, but being credible is not enough. Better information could have been provided to my family and friends to help them support me on my new normal. I have changed, but I'm still here. Don't bring up the rape with me. I'll choose to talk about it when I'm ready. Give me reasons to be happy. Give me happiness and laughter in my life. I just want to be normal. We must do better. Firstly, we can have a national body with trained advocates other than unpaid volunteers. We can centralise our broken and fragmented systems. We can change the language. We can explore legislative reform. We can have alternative processes other than the trauma of a criminal court for both the accused and the victims. Thirdly, we can increase resources for the police so they can conduct their investigations in a timely and thorough manner. Don't leave us waiting. If this has triggered something for you, this is a really good number to phone. You will actually get a person on the end of the line, and it's available 24/7. It's for
That's a New
people
Zealand
who are in
number.
any situation, even before an event happens. I encourage you to share this with family and friends. My name is Sarah Strong.
In the States.
I'm not healing, I'm not on a journey, and I'm not a victim.
So, chat, powerful stuff, huh? Thank you for being here, chat, shorties. I appreciate that it's late and this is a heavy topic. I hope that you've gotten something out of this stream. I hope it hasn't been too much for you. I hope if it was or is too much for you, you've stepped away. And if it's brought up stuff in you, then please, there's rain.org. There's our chat community or my Discord server. If you have a therapist, Heather Taylor, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Strong woman, three amazing women. Bravo to not having to hear men talk about sexual assault and rape. I didn't choose those women as being women intentionally. I think that though it's been an interesting time, huh? So I think maybe would we like to lift the mood a little because it's been a little heavy. A Turd Ferguson song to go out with, not the love song. That's my outro. It will always be. For the foreseeable future until the stick horse wedding, and then we'll play our wedding march, right? But would you like a song, a Turd Ferguson song? It's nothing new to take. Yes, to take a moment. Very powerful, very powerful. And Adam just put the lifeline. That's in Australia. There's not many good resources in Australia, sadly. I feel like probably rain.org. Sorry, I'm looking at my face and I'm thinking I'm super shiny. Let me just blot chat because we're friends and I'd rather be blotted and not shiny than continue to be vain, fueled by insecurity. Still shiny. Here, I'll put the filter on. No. BetterHelp. Yep, thank you. BetterHelp's there. Yes. You're welcome, Nonna. Robin, very informative. Yes. US Lifeline. I know I've called Lifeline in a peak, a reverse peak crisis point in my life, and it was pointless. You're good colours. You're good colours. Tell her I said hi. Mwah! And Turd, what's Turd's? Turd's idea. Very good idea. Another great, here we go. Sorry, I missed this. Another great systemic change would be to have time off from work for trauma. It's different. It should allow you to come in on a good day, but take off when you need to. Amen. It's very much contributing to further trauma and compound trauma and burnout when the show must go on. Yeah. Like no good. Tough. You're welcome, Ernie. Thank you. You're welcome. Brenda, I'm so sorry that was triggering for you. I hope you're okay. If there's anything I can do, reach out. I'd love to be there for you if it's brought up memories and trauma from your past. My Discord server, my email is itsmisshorty@gmail.com. So yeah. Thank you for the stream and thanks for sharing chat. Absolutely, Emily. Did you want to hear a song? Let me pull up Turd Ferguson's page. Obviously, I've got Ode to Apathy on my channel as a song because it's my favorite. But, however, let's find Turd Ferguson. I'm not sure why she's not higher up in my playlist, but I'll see what I can do about that, Turd. There it is. Are we sharing? No. Am I just talking to myself about things I'm randomly scrolling through? Yes. Yes. Let me go to share screen. We can pick something. This. Turd Ferguson. This. Also, I have the most epic of migraines that I've had for the entire day. We've been streaming for 5.5 hours. Oh, no, 5 hours. And my brain hurts. So let's have a song and then we can go and all go to bed and live to fight another day tomorrow. Brian Albert, we need to talk tomorrow at 5 Eastern. Only one stream tomorrow. Thank you so much, mods. I love you so much. I appreciate you being here. You don't have to be here every day, but seems to be you are. Uh-oh. Oh, no. What? Oh, no. Yeah, we love your songs, Turd. It's compulsory Turd music. We always do. Okay, so I'm all about that Ode to Apathy. We've got the election song, Bloodberry Jam, the science song, Feral Children, Don't Fuck with Cat 5, the Moose Flute, yikes, Hugin could uplift us. Coming back to chat to see Veiny Anus. Chat, what do you think? Oh, I have a migraine. Yes. Oh, yeah, this is fantastic. Yes, Ernie. Thank you. Yeah, I woke up with it. This dumb bra doesn't help. So fucking, what am I doing with myself? Why would I? Thank you. Same. It will. I'll go to bed soon. Ode to Apathy. Ernie, your wish is my command. You don't have to ask me twice. Once you have to ask once, not twice. I know where it is, but I can't use this scroll doobie wacky thing.
I ain't a man of violent ways, not a man of violent ways. My strategy is apathy, no arguing, no fights. Just love and empathy, time fades, the fire's light. Apathy can be your answer, no need to join the fight. 'Cause both sides are wrong, and both sides are right. Give it a try and see, give it a day to confirm. In a year it's clear, think about the long term. This world is full of chaos. It can make emotions boil. Reacting makes it worse. Igniting scorn and turmoil. I ain't a man of violent ways. Not a man of violent ways. My strategy is apathy. No arguing, no fights. Just love and empathy. Time fades, the fire's light. Just relax, don't get cross. Purge all bad emotions. Be at peace, ease your thoughts, and mind your compassion. Apathy may be the answer. There ain't no need to fight, 'cause both sides are wrong, and both sides are right. Fights are a ruse, an endless game. There is nothing to lose and nothing to gain. This world is full of chaos. It can make emotions boil. Reacting makes it worse. Igniting scorn and turmoil. I ain't a man of violent ways. Not a man of violent ways. My strategy is apathy. No arguing, no fights. Just love and empathy. Time fades, the fire's light. Protecting people that I love. Trusting only a few. Laying my life down, if that is what I need to do.
Even with a fucking migraine. So good, Turd. Oh, no, that's still my ear. Jeez Louise. Yes. Heather says migraines are the worst. Right? Insufficient sleep, insufficient food, tight bra. Quite a stressful day for me with the 2 streams I was doing today. The weight of these 2 live streams bore very heavily on me and is manifesting as a migraine. So yeah, nothing really works. I just need to turn the lights off and stop with all this. But I'm good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm all about just give me all of the ibuprofen and the paracetamol and dose me right up. And then just suffer through it. Great song. Livers, who needs them? Yeah. Okay, so Chat GPT. I don't even know what that is. I mean, I do, but okay, kids, you can take them together. Yes, you can. You can. You're better off taking two. Oh, Adam's premiering something right now. Adam, it's in half an hour. Adam's got a premiere in half an hour. So if you don't already subscribe to Adam Drives Helen, what the fuck? Why? He's premiering something in half an hour, 10 Pacific. Go and subscribe, and then we'll go and watch it together. Oh, thanks, Ernie. You're the besticles. Just like testicles, only better because ball bag. Yuck. Tomorrow night, 5 Eastern. Brian Albert, we need to talk. Let's do it. Let's fucking go. We're not going to do any of Lally. Can't. And it's already 5 hours of cross-examination. So let's fucking go. Canton salute. Hi, Bussy. And then next weekend we've got, we're not doing any, just because I can't do 6 hours of Brian Albert or 5 hours or 4 hours and then 6 hours of Det v. Heard. So we'll do Det v. Heard next weekend. Next weekend we're doing the Nagel Bagels, Juliana and Ryan Nagel. Amy Boston's going to come and help me with that one. That's on, I think, Saturday night. I think we'll do Det v. Heard on Friday night, and we might do a Let's Talk after the Nagels. Still yet to be determined. I did a poll, haven't checked in on it lately. Yes, that. It's a premiere, not a live. Correct. Live start Monday, right, Adam? Adam is back. Adam is back live streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 Pacific, right? From Monday. How exciting. Yeah. I reckon a second coffee would have helped, to be honest. I just have one coffee a day. Ugh, not enough. But then if you have 2 coffees and then you go back to 1, you get this brain ache. So chat, don't forget to put a comment after the stream has ended. Love. Love you to do that. Sorry, I'm distracted by the still migraine talk. Brain easily distracted. Share this one out. Share this one out. Watch those other like the videos that if you want to watch them again. We subscribe to the channels. We're going to do more of the Therapy in a Nutshell. We love her. The other girl, Bonnie, love her too. She doesn't have as much of a back catalogue of stuff. So yeah, we love this. I love this for Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty is 1 night done, 1 night to go, 1 episode to go. We can do this. No migraine tomorrow. I might have a glass of wine. Some brie. Thanks, Jess. Topic reminder. Thank you. Oh, she's so good. You're all so good. I love your faces. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Turd, for the gift of memberships. Thank you. Wait, we haven't done many of these lately because it's sad and I'm sad. Well, I need more money so I can grift. So cool. Still getting a cheese break, a government cheese video to put in because obviously I need to have cheese at least 2 times a stream. Actually, maybe that's my migraine. I have only had 1 cheese break today at about 5 hours of streaming. Gosh, this is a problem. I've got a problem with that. I got beef with cheese. Good night, colors. Good night, everybody. Love you so much. Love your faces. Let's go out with the love song. Mwah.
Our sister, survivor and warrior. Miss Shorty shows care and concern, broadcasting out of Melbourne. They've been streaming for a while, and they know they make us smile. He knew love from 8,000 miles away, 13,000 kilometers, never got it away. Half the world apart, but united in the heart. Both are uniquely complex, bravely seeking what's next. It would be an easier goal to maintain the status quo, but sincere in their beliefs, for us to find our love and peace. They've been streaming for a while, and they know they make us smile. They've been streaming for a while, and they know they make us smile. He knew love from 8,000 miles away, 13,000 kilometers, never gotten away. Half a world apart, but united in the heart. Both are uniquely complex, bravely seeking what's next.